Hi, today we are taking a deep dive into growing brassicas organically. You may also know them as crucifers or cole crops. In this video, we will dive into broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower. I do have individual videos on each of these crops as well, but here we're kind of putting it all together and adding more information, so hopefully you will have a successful crop. I talk about gardening in zones 5 and 6. That's all the green places on this map. If you don't know me, I'm Amy. I grew up on a rural Kentucky farm and had my own organic produce business, along with being a teacher. I retired to Wisconsin several years ago to be closer to my son. Brassicas are cool weather crops. The good news is they are packed with nutrients. The bad news is they have lots of pests. Due to the weather variances, especially in spring, a little extra TLC is needed to successfully grow them and protect them from pests. Cauliflower can especially be persnickety and challenging to grow. It's not big on weather extremes, which are more prevalent in springtime. In Kentucky, I found cauliflower can be cranky, so I just grew it in the fall. In Wisconsin, it does much better in the spring. Brassicas are large plants and need plenty of room to grow. They are heavy feeders and grow best in full sun. Pile on that compost. Broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower uptake a lot of nutrients. One reason they are so good for us. They do like the soil to range from neutral to a bit alkaline. Wood ashes from your stove are a good fertilizer for brassicas. It contains calcium and potassium, but use it sparingly. Apply a thin layer, about 1/4 an inch in late winter. Mix it in well several weeks or even months before planting, and avoid contact with young seedlings as it can be strong. If you are not blessed with a wood stove, just buy some agricultural lime. It's slow acting and will raise your garden pH over time while adding essential calcium to help plants thrive. I really like the Down to Earth brand. Timing is important. Pay attention to the days till maturity number when seeding. I start broccoli and cabbage in March. The number of days till harvest needs to be considered, especially in the spring, so that you can get several cuttings with the broccoli before hot weather. Honestly, I focus on planting shorter maturing varieties so that I give myself a little bit more flexibility. I do have planting timelines on the website. A germination temperature of 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and after germination, keep your growing area 60 degrees. Plant seeds 1/4 an inch deep in a good seed starting mix and keep them moist but not wet. I typically plant cole crops in size 48 trays. After the seeds germinate, place the tray in a bright location, but not in direct sunlight. Brassica seedlings are pretty hardy. Mine were in my unheated greenhouse one spring when we had a late snow. Cauliflower caveat. I often seed the cauliflower a couple weeks after the others and let it grow up a bit more before giving it time outside. This is actually my fall setup with seedlings in a 3-sided shed to keep them cool. For the fall crop, you can start seeds indoors in mid to late July in Zone 5 and early August in Zone 6. Harden off young seedlings by introducing them to the outdoors slowly, a couple of weeks per day for about a week. I like to stagger my plantings to ensure that I have a long harvest period. Ideal growing temperatures for the brassicas are between 55 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit to get seedlings to maturity. Use a heavier weight garden fabric in spring and a lightweight one in late summer for fall crops. I fertilize with fish emulsion when I transplant and about every 2 weeks during the growing season. Not a huge amount, about 1 cup mixed per plant. One thing to note, see how I have hoops set up? You don't want to let the fabric lay on the plants as it will tear up the leaves. Use wire or PVC to make supports. Temperatures over 80 degrees start to trigger bolting, and plants will go to seed. These flowers are edible, or of course, you can let them develop seeds to save if you're growing heirloom varieties. Brassica needs good soil moisture. To produce sweet, flavorful, firm, and non bitter heads, the plants must not experience water stress. Never water overhead. Drip irrigation is great. If you don't have drip irrigation, just make sure you are watering the soil around the plant and not the leaves. Water in the morning after the dew has evaporated. Soak the soil thoroughly at least once a week. If your soil is sandy, water more often. I do use landscaping fabric to hold moisture in and prevent weeds, although you can see from my garden it's not perfect. The weeds creep in. It is important to take it up in the fall, rinse it off, and store it for winter. You shouldn't let it sit on the ground for long periods. This is the caterpillar form of the cabbage white or cabbage butterfly. We generally call them cabbage worms, and they are always hungry and love broccoli and cabbages. They can decimate a plant pretty quickly. Keep these pests from destroying your crop by inspecting the plants daily, hand-picking off any visible pests. Your chickens will appreciate them as a treat. No chickens? Monterey Garden insect spray is my go-to, and I have a link for it in the description. And also, if you don't have chickens, you can attract songbirds. They will eat them. Cabbage worms are part of a large family of white to pale yellow butterflies. Here is the adult form, which is a nectar feeder. They lay their eggs on both wild and cultivated brassicas. The cabbage loper is a different pest than the cabbage worm, but damages your plant the same way. You can see its moth parent looks a little bit different. Look for telltale caterpillar frass on your plants. Cutworms are the larvae form of several species of moths. They get their name because they chew on the stems of young plants, often cutting it right off. They'll hide out in the soil under the mulch. Place collars around young plants to protect them. Toilet paper and paper towel, cardboard tubes work well for this. You can sprinkle diatomaceous earth around your plants to create a circle that the cutworms, snails, and slugs are reluctant to crawl over. Sluggo brand is also a good organic deterrent. I have often used radishes as a trap plant. Flea beetles especially love them. Another great companion plant is mint. The strong smell confuses the flea beetles, and they have a hard time locating the plants they wish to eat. Downy mildew does have a thing for broccoli. It can affect the broccoli heads, making them inedible. I do have a video on both downy and powdery mildew that you can watch to learn about how to protect your plants. Black rot is one of the most common diseases in brassicas. It can really reduce your yield and kill the plants. Unfortunately, there are not many cultivars that are resistant. Black rot is caused by a bacteria and is spread by water. You can also spread it to your property by getting infected seed. So that's one more reason not to get those cheap seed packets at the dollar store that haven't been inspected. Beneficial insects like parasitic wasps, lacewings, and lady beetles can help you control pest populations because they prey on the eggs. Hand pick them or have a child do it and encourage songbirds that will eat the caterpillars. When you identify pests on cauliflower or broccoli or cabbage, it's best to go after them quickly because, boy, they eat fast. My new book is out, Create a Backyard Wildlife Habitat. It has a lot of information on attracting beneficial insects and birds, color images to help you identify species and plants. Brassica are often underappreciated vegetables that can be used in so many different ways. Let me know your favorite ways to cook them. I'm so looking forward to spring this year. Check out my books in the description and give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful. Thanks so much for watching and have a fabulous day.